Shalom. Kol Halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all the Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Ba'ath the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay? So, tonight's lesson is going to be on the topic of feminism. All right, and we're gonna read a little bit about this article here in Wikipedia about what feminism is, and it says that feminism is a range of socio-political movements and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. Feminism incorporates the position that society prioritizes the male point of view and that women are treated unjustly and in these societies. Efforts to change this include fighting against gender stereotypes and improving educational, professional, and interpersonal opportunities and outcomes for women. So we're gonna go to the I'm gonna look up the word feminism in the etymology here on my phone. And we're gonna let's see here. Like it says here, again, it's just saying a doctrine that advocates equal rights for women, a movement aimed at equal rights for women. So we're gonna go. So that's basically what this is saying, is that women are to be equal to men. In fact, I have a video that we're gonna watch, and then I'm gonna go to another article on Wikipedia that talks about the Declaration of Sentiments, and it's gonna explain a little bit about the whole thing with the feminist, with this whole feminism thing, feminist movement, so on forth. And it says right here that feminist movements have campaigned and continue to campaign for women's rights, including the right to vote, run for public office, work, earn equal pay, own property, receive education, and our contracts have equal rights within marriage and maternity leave. Feminists have also worked to ensure access to contraception, legal abortions, and social integration, and to protect women and girls from rape, sexual harassment, and domestic violence. Changes in female dress standards and acceptable physical activities for females have often been part of feminist movements. But okay, enough about that. I'm not going to read everything, but we're going to go ahead and get into this video right here. It's called How Did Feminism Start by Mr. Beat. And it's only 9 minutes and 26 seconds, but it's a little bit of history here.
On January 21st, 2017, millions around the world marched to promote legislation and policies supporting women's rights, among other things. The main event was in Washington, D.C., known as the Women's March on Washington. It featured over 500,000 people and was the largest political demonstration in D.C. since the anti-Vietnam War protests of the 1960s and 1970s. The Women's March is evidence that feminism is alive and well. And just so we're clear, feminism is the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. Feminists who protest think we're not there yet.
But how did feminism begin?
Obviously, in this video, I will tell you. And I'm going to have a little bit of help from my new friend, Sammy, from US 101. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel. It is quite amazing stuff. Most historians agree that the modern feminist movement began on July 19th and 20th, 1848, in Seneca Falls, New York. It became known as the Seneca Falls Convention. Organizers advertised it as, quote, a convention to discuss the social, civil, and religious condition and rights of women.
Okay.
So that was a bit grammatically incorrect, but you get the idea. The convention's two main organizers were Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott, who became friends 8 years prior at the World Anti-Slavery Convention in London in 1840. Stanton had earned a reputation as an influential activist for years, known first as a leading abolitionist and then later as a leading proponent of women's suffrage. Mott was known for the same, but also for being a powerful speaker and a Quaker, a branch of Christianity strongly tied to many of the major reforms of the 1800s, like the temperance movement. At that anti-slavery convention, the men forced the women to sit in a separate area. This really upset Stanton and Mott, and the two talked about the possibility of starting a women's rights convention. Flash forward 8 years later, and Stanton was now living in Seneca Falls. Meanwhile, Mott was visiting her sister, Martha Coffin Wright, in nearby Waterloo. When Mott and her sister went to hang out with Stanton, along with Mary Ann McClintock and Jane Hunt, the five of them had decided that the time was right. 5 days later, the Seneca Falls Convention took place. It was the first women's rights convention in history. There wasn't a lot of people there, mostly because it wasn't really advertised that well. Of the 300 in attendance, 40 were men. While the Seneca Falls Convention featured some lectures and discussions and all the usual convention type stuff, the most famous contribution was the signing of the Declaration of Sentiments. Elizabeth Cady Stanton mostly wrote the document, modeling it after the Declaration of Independence. It summarized the injustices women regularly encountered and offered 11 resolutions to give women equality. Over 2 days at the convention, the leaders of the convention read and debated these resolutions. For more about what was actually in the Declaration of Sentiments, I'm now going to turn it over to Sammy from US 101, who has been patiently waiting for me to stop my yapping.
Thank you much, Mr. Beat. And no, you weren't talking for too long. Seriously, no, you were doing great. Anyway, guys, let me start off by saying that I am not a historian, but neither are you. So, how about we, the people, learn this stuff together? My name is Sammy Jarouche, the host of US 101, a weekly show about American history, and let's dive into this document. So the Declaration of Sentiments, as Mr. Beat said, modeled itself after the Declaration of Independence, but not just in structure. The document actually took whole passages from the Declaration of Independence and reworded them to highlight the importance of women. For example, Jefferson's Declaration says, quote, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation." End quote. Declaration of Sentiments takes that same passage and rewords it to say, quote, "When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one portion of the family of man to assume among the people of the earth a position different from that which they have hitherto occupied, but one to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to such a course." In fact, one of the most famous lines of Jefferson's Declaration, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal," was changed for the Declaration of Sentiments. Stanton added the words "and women" to that phrase. Now, in Jefferson's Declaration, there's a section of it called the Indictment, which essentially is a list of grievances against King George III. Imagine the first version of Festivus, if you will. Stanton does the exact same thing in the Declaration of Sentiments. There's also a section known as the Indictment, but instead of going after a king, it goes after the men of America. For example, some of those grievances include the following: "He has not ever permitted her to exercise her inalienable right to the elective franchise. He has compelled her to submit to laws in the formation of which she had no voice. He has taken from her all right in property, even to the wages she earns. He has endeavored in every way that he could to destroy her confidence in her own powers, to lessen her self-respect, and to make her willing to lead a dependent and abject life. In total, there are 16 of these sentiments listed, and none of them pull any punches. To be frank, these ladies were not around. Now finally, Stanton's declaration closes with the following message. In entering upon the great work before us, we anticipate no small amount of misconception, misrepresentation, and ridicule, but we shall use every instrumentality within our power to effect our object. We shall employ agents, circulate tracts, petition the state and national legislatures, and endeavor to enlist the pulpit and the press in our behalf. We hope this convention will be followed by a series of conventions embracing every part of the country. The Declaration of Sentiments was signed by Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, Marianne McClintock, Jane Hunt, Martha Coffin Wright, and a slew of other women that appeared at the convention. And some men also signed the Declaration of Sentiments, one of which you know very well. Frederick Douglass was also in attendance, and in addition to signing the document, claimed that the Declaration, as well as the convention as a whole, was a, quote, grand movement for attaining the civil, social, political, and religious rights of women. And on that note, guys, I'm gonna send it back over to Mr. Beat to close out the episode, but I do hope that you guys check out US 101 and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. You can also check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And on that note, I am all done. Mr. Beat, I will see you when I see you, my man.
Thanks, Sammy. Great job. But watch your mouth. I've got kids watching, all right? I want you to just go ahead and go wash your mouth out with soap, okay? But anyway, weird fact. The Declaration of Sentiments, no one knows where it is. I'm not joking. The original copy of it has been missing for a while now. Follow the hashtag #FindTheSentiments to keep up with the efforts to locate it. And yet, it remains one of the most important documents in history. More people signed the Declaration of Sentiments.
Alright, so, as you can see, let's go back to this article here. Oh, well, not this one, but the one that's going to be talking about the Declaration of Sentiments here. So we're going to go down to right here. We'll read this little overview here under rhetoric, and it says Elizabeth Cady Stanton Declaration of Rights and Sentiments utilizes similar rhetoric in the United States Declaration of Independence by Thomas Jefferson, a gesture which was neither an accident nor a submissive action. Such a purposeful mimicking of language, and form meant that Stanton tied together the complaints of women in America with the Declaration of Independence in order to ensure that in the eyes of the American people, such requests were not seen as overly radical. Using Jefferson's document as a model, Stanton also links together the independence of America from Britain with the patriarchy in order to emphasize how both were unjust forms of governance and deserved freedom from. Therefore, through such a familiar phrasing and argument and issues that the women of the new American Republic were facing, Stanton's use of Jefferson's rhetoric can be seen as an attempt to deflect the hostility that women faced when calling for new social political freedoms, as well as to make the claims of women as self-evident as the rights given to men following from the gaining of independence from Britain. But specific examples, let's see here if I can find it. Oh yeah, here we are. This is the sentiments here, and like I said, there's 16 of them. There's 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, there's 16 of them. But all in all, you know, as he said before, the Declaration of Sentiments, where it said that, I'm trying to figure out where it said, where was it? I think it was somewhere in the Declaration where he said that, you know, he said that all men were created equal, but in the Declaration of Sentiments it changed and said that all men and women were equal, but if I could find it real quick. But in any case, this right here goes into a scripture that we all know too well. This is going to be the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31. Chapter 31, verse 22. And it says, how long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Okay? So, this right here is talking about that feminism, right? How women are able to now hold the same positions of authority as men. Hell, now women nowadays can have authority over. Women nowadays have authority over men in these positions of leadership, such as being a manager, a supervisor, a judge, a police officer, so on and so forth. You know, and that's out of order. All right. You know, and let me see, in this other article here that I pulled up, this woman right here, her name is Wilhelmina Drucker, from 1847 to 1925, fought successfully for the vote and equal rights for women through organizations she founded. So this was in the Netherlands. And a couple of other things, you know, feminist suffrage parade in New York, 1912. And what you have right here, Simone Veil, from 1927 to 2017, a former French Minister of Health, 1974 to 79, made access to contraceptive pills easier and legalized abortions from 1974 to 1975. Which was her greatest and hardest achievement. So, you know, like I said, this a new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man, and you know, women fighting to have the same rights as men, and because we have weak ass simp men in high places, they allow these women to have a voice, to voice their own opinions, their own emotions, and that's just it. Women are emotional while men are logical. Okay. Now we're going to go to another scripture, Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. And it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. Okay? So, yes, we have women ruling over us. I mean, not just Israelite, not just Eve herself, the Israelite woman, ruling over the men, over the Israelite man, but hell, you even have the heathen women that are not of the nation of Israel, Israel ruling over us. And the children have become our oppressors, childish leaders. And who's in authority right now? Esau, Edom. And this says right here, O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. Yeah, because of their philosophies and their own worldly ways and teachings, which are vain. You know, they hold no weight, no value behind them. It's just worldly wisdom, and in the eyes of the Lord, worldly wisdom is foolishness. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to the Apocrypha here. And another thing in this society, excuse me, the Violence Against Women Act, the VAWA, which was, I looked it up myself, you know, it says that, you know, that whole Violence Against Women Act that was implemented back in, it was enacted in 1994 by President Clinton at the time. So it was just basically, you know, violence against women, just to combat violence against women, provide protection, and who have suffered abuse, domestic violence, and all that stuff, as well as dating, violence, sexual assault, and stalking. So, and like they say, and the thing is that these women are still fighting for equality when they've gotten everything that they've ever wanted. Equal rights and opportunities, education, and they're still complaining. They don't realize when they've won. They just want to keep. They just want more and more and more. Like what they got is just not enough. All right, this is going to be Ecclesiasticus, aka Sirach, chapter 25, verse 19, and it says, "All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her." So I'm going to read that again and just listen a bit more clearly. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her, okay? That's just another way of saying let her be accountable. Let her be held accountable for all of her misdeeds. So yeah, man, these women, especially the feminist women, especially the women of our nation, Eve is just, she's at the height of her wickedness. And these other heathen women are following her example, and it's that's why these men, even the heathen men, are sick and tired of this shit. If the Israelite man is tired, just think about the heathen men that are not of the nation of Israel. They're tired of the women's shit. That's why I know right now a lot of men are leaving America to go find them a woman over in the East, a woman who was raised to be subservient and taught that she needs to be submissive to her husband. All right, I'm gonna get this is gonna be the book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament. This is gonna be chapter 7, verse 26. And it says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman." I'm going to read that again. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. "And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her." I'm going to read this in the NLT. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26 in the NLT. "I discovered that a seductive woman is a trap more bitter than death. Her passion is a snare, and her soft hands are chains. Those who are pleasing to the power will escape her, but sinners will be caught in her snare." Okay? A woman's mind is not much snares and nets, man. And that's how these prideful ass women are nowadays. They play games. They find ways to trap you and get you, to trap you in one of their snares, and they want to have that power over men. And a lot of men have given into that power. And and the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, many men have ran out of their wits because of women. They've lost their senses. They've lost they've lost their wit because of these women and their ways. Okay, verse 27. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 27. "Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account." Verse 28. "Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not one. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found." So I'm going to read that in the NLT. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 28 in the NLT. "Though I have searched repeatedly, I have not found what I was looking for. Only one out of 1,000 men is virtuous, but not one woman." Okay? So 1 out of 1,000 men is righteous, but out of women, so it's not a single one of them. So that just goes to show you that the woman is the weaker vessel, and that Um, that's why I'm going to go to the book of Job, chapter 39, verse 17. And it says, because the Most High hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. So, wisdom, she was deprived of wisdom, and neither hath he imparted to her understanding. It was only given to the men, okay? Men are the ones that are meant to be the leaders, and women are meant to follow behind the man, okay? For this society that America promotes, it is built for the safety, the comfort, and the convenience of women. Okay, they make it hard to where they feminize the men and they emasculate the women. It's sickening. It's really sickening. This is gonna be the book of Proverbs, 21 verse 19. And it says, oh, Salakia, hold on, let me go back. I forgot to read one more script down on Job. This is the book of Job, chapter 39, I'm going to read verse 17 again. It says, because the Most High hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. Verse 18, what time she lifteth up herself on high, she scorneth the horse and his rider. Okay, so again, that's lifted herself up on high, which means she got built up with that pride. And now she bucks up against the one that she's supposed to be following, which is the man. These women nowadays, they think that, like I said in the Declaration of Sentiments, they changed where Jefferson had put all men are created equal, that, Stanton, she reworded it and said all men and women. And that's not, no. Your woman is not a man's equal. Never has been and never will be. Okay? And that's what's got a lot of these women in the fucked up mindset that they're in, especially our women, the so-called black woman, Hispanic woman, and Native American woman. Okay? Nowadays you have women bucking up against their husbands, disrespecting them in their own household, back-talking them. These women are out of, like I said, Eve right now, the Israelite woman is by far the most out of control woman right now. So I'm gonna go to, like I said, I'm gonna go to Proverbs. This is gonna be Proverbs 21 and 19. And it says, it is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. So it's better to be at peace in the wilderness. It's better to be alone in the wilderness where you're at peace and silence and away from everything than to deal with a contentious and angry woman. So a woman who likes to start an argument or wants to start a fight with you and complain. And that's the state of our women, man. And you all know who to thank for that. Esau, Edom. And as for what women are supposed to be like, we can go to the book of Titus. The book of Titus, chapter 2, starting at verse 2. It says that the aged, Titus chapter 2, verse 3, it says, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. Okay? Not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things. Verse 4, that they may teach the young woman to be sober, to love their husbands, and to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed. Okay? So a woman is supposed to be subservient unto her husband, okay, and to be keepers of home, chaste, and discreet, right? Which means that their place is supposed to be taking care of the household, Well, the man, their husband, is the one making the money and bringing and providing for the rest of the family. Okay? The woman keeps the house in order. But, we live in a society where, since women have equal rights, they can do whatever the hell they want. And, sleep around, get an abortion, and, in a case of whatever it may be, like, it's always going to be her word against the man's word. That whole women come first bullshit. So, so again, I'm gonna read go through the sentiments here, and it says he has not ever permitted her to exercise her inalienable right to the elective franchise. He has compelled her to submit to laws, in the formation of which she had no voice. He has withheld her from rights which are given to the most ignorant and degraded men, both natives and foreigners, having deprived her of first right as a citizen, the elective franchise, thereby leaving her without representation in the halls of legislation. He has oppressed her on all sides. Verse It says here, he has made her, if married in the eye of the law, civilly dead. He has taken from her all right and property, even to the wages she earns. He has made her morally an irresponsible being, and she can commit many crimes with impunity, provided they be done in the presence of her husband. In the covenant of marriage, she is compelled to promise obedience to her husband, he becoming to all intents and purposes her master, the law giving him power to deprive her of her liberty and administer chastisement. But this is just worldly stuff. According to scripture, it does say that this is going to be 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, and it says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. So the man is the head of the household, and the woman, she follows the lead of her husband. But as being Israelite men, we're not to be lions in our own household, not to be tyrants, but we are to lead. We are to, have a certain conduct about ourselves to lead our households. We don't abuse our women. And this is not, this is less than I'm doing. It's not about, I'm not trying to portray or give off the idea that women, I'm not trying to belittle women. It's just that women have a certain order to be in. Okay, just like the men have their order, the women have their order. Okay, and like I said, I don't hate women. I'm just rightly disappointed in how, especially the Israelite woman, acts nowadays. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Slack, give me a minute. Yeah, here we go. This is going to be the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. It's going to be chapter 4, verse 30. It says, be not as a lion in thine house, nor frantic among thy servants. Okay? That, that's just a way of saying don't be a tyrant in the house. Don't abuse your wife or your family. You're supposed, as a man, you're supposed to lead your family. Okay? you know, nor frantic among like the servants. You know, don't don't mistreat them, don't torture them, don't abuse them. You know, so that's why, you know, that's why we gotta, as Israelite men, we have to conduct ourselves in the way of the Yahweh Shem Yahshua in a holy manner. All right. Um, you know, but I mean, you can look up this information for yourself, but yeah, this is just, like I said, this is the Declaration of Sentiments. You can look at this for yourself, as well as the article of Feminism and the History. And, you know, again, this is you know, the feminism is toxic, and you know they say masculinity is toxic, but see, it's right now, you know, and it actually says it right here. Actually, before I close out, let's read this. Numerous feminist movements and ideologies have developed over the years, representing different viewpoints and political aims. Traditionally, since the 19th century, the first wave, liberal feminism that sought political and legal equality through reforms within a liberal democratic framework, was contrasted with labor-based proletarian women's movements that over time developed into socialist and Marxist feminism based on class struggle theory. Since the 1960s, both of these traditions are also contrasted with radical feminism that arose from the radical wing of second wave feminism, and that calls for a radical reordering of society to eliminate male supremacy. In other words, take away a man's masculinity. Together, liberal, socialist, and radical feminism are sometimes called the big three schools of feminist thought. All right, so, so this is what America promotes. Okay. So another scripture to close out. This is going to be Proverbs. It's going to be chapter 31, verse 3, and it says, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings." And this is exactly what destroys the masculinity in men. This feminism bullshit. Okay? And by the man following the woman. Okay? This is, like I said, you know, you can look this stuff up for yourself, but with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying unto the body and to those that are new coming in, listening and learning with all sincerity. And I would like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors in respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all the Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, and unto the Bayat the Davadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Ababa Ba, Shalom, Barakatham.